You are listening to Insurance Untangled podcast, where we explore the various challenges faced by dental practices due to their reliance on insurance. In this podcast, we dive deep into the issues surrounding dental insurance dependence and offer practical solutions and strategies for reducing your reliance on insurance. Join us as we interview industry experts, share success stories, and provide valuable insights to help you take control of your practice's financial future.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Insurance Untangled podcast. I am Naren, and one of the co-hosts of this podcast dedicated to helping practices that are tangled up with insurance. We talk about topics that help you take more control and create a bigger and better future for you, your patients, and of course, your team members. Today, I have my dear friend Ben with me, Ben Tuney. You all know him. He's a co-host with me, and we have done a lot together. Ben, thank you for joining us. But just wanted to kind of have you introduce the topic. Can government agencies help appeal denied claims?
Excellent. Yes, great chatting with you again, Naren. This is an interesting topic. Across the country, we're dealing with a lot of problems stemming from that Change Healthcare hack that happened a few months ago. And that's resulted in a lot of practices still not getting paid on claims. But the other part is that the rate of claims denials, it seems to have been something where, it's on the rise. With more and more practices these days are reporting more and more denials than they've ever experienced in the past. And so the question becomes, after all that you've done to appeal and fight for your patients, can a government agency get involved, and if so, which one? And I guess the answer to that question, Naren, is yes. The insurance companies are regulated by the government, right? And so they have to uphold to certain standards and laws and audits on a regular basis. But when it comes to claims appeal, it's not that these government agencies are representing you as the doctor or practice owner. They're representing the taxpayer, in this case, the consumer, the person that's being treated that has insurance. And so that's the biggest thing to understand, is that it's the government agencies out there, outside of the licensing board that represents dentists, the government agencies that fight insurance, they fight insurance on behalf of consumers, not doctors, right? So the answer to that question is yes.
Thank you. Let me go to the next question. In some states, both Attorney General and insurance commissioners get involved with appealing denied claims. Is that true?
Yeah. So, the basic level is that in every state has their own insurance commissioner or department of insurance that governs all insurance carriers that are subject to state regulatory laws. And then you have the Attorney General that typically doesn't get involved unless it's a really big case, if it's a fraud case. In fact, what we're seeing these days, Naren, is it's not necessarily the insurance commissioners or the Attorney Generals, but it's small groups of doctors that are getting together and formalizing a class action, or formalizing a class in an effort to pursue an insurance carrier from a class action standpoint. And I have seen attorney generals get involved in those measures when there is apparent fraud going on with any given insurance carrier that needs to be resolved at the state level, right? So if you can prove that there's an issue that's enough of a problem, which is mostly a problem where people are not getting access to their benefits, then yeah, you can engage in using government agencies or creating your own class action on issues that do qualify in terms of a class action where doctors are collectivizing to sue an insurance company on any given matter. But to answer the question regarding insurance commissioners and attorney generals, it's mostly insurance commissioners that are designed to help on insurance-related issues, whereas the attorney generals, they only get involved if it's a bigger case and one where they should be getting involved to address the widespread issue of fraud as it pertains to insurance and doctor relationships.
Thank you, Ben. Do you have any case studies or recent examples of how dental offices have successfully used the government to represent patients?
Yeah, in fact, we're going to be bringing Tessina on to cut a couple of episodes to talk about her story. So Tessina is my number one go-to person when it comes to how to utilize an insurance commissioner because she's represented her own clients in many states, but she's also represented her own practice in Utah a number of years ago, which I'll let her tell that story. But Tessina's work has caught it's caught a lot of attention to where here in Utah, we have a group called the Utah Dental United Group. And she's actually helped a lot of those doctors. It's a group of about 400 dentists. She's helped a lot of those doctors engage in utilizing our insurance commissioner. So when it comes to advocacy, yes, she's actually working on a number of cases right now. And it always seems like when she gets involved, this is Tessina, there's a big difference in dynamics on how the insurance commissioners respond, mainly because it's how she talks to them and how she positions a case in an effort to gain interest from somebody at the insurance commissioner's office to take on the cases. But yeah, I talked to her as early as last week about several cases that she's working on. And the vast majority of the time when she takes these cases to the insurance commissioner, she wins. So that said, Naren, yeah, this is something that we're proactively studying and working on with Tessina to collect data in an effort for us to share on a state-by-state basis how to engage your insurance commissioner effectively. So there we go. Stay tuned. More to come from Tessina directly in the next few weeks.
Thank you. Thank you. What about the federal side for self-funded plans that only federal government has jurisdiction over? Can you use the government for situations like that?
Yeah. So for self-funded plans, this is actually where it becomes a little bit challenging. Self-funded plans are governed by the federal government, as you mentioned. They're governed under laws called ERISA laws, and the ERISA laws, they exempt the self-funded plans from being governed by the states. So no state laws are applicable to ERISA laws. So with that said, there is a department within the Department of Labor that serves as sort of a federal insurance commissioner. And to be honest, it's very hard to get a hold of those people. It's very hard to get them to do any kind of advocacy on behalf of ERISA plans. This is one area of government that I kind of feel like is a waste of taxpayer dollars, simply because there's a lot of fraud that goes on with these ERISA plans and how they're processed, right? And how the insurance companies don't pay benefits, and yet there's little to no recourse on getting any kind of government enforcement action. So what we've learned over the years is that when you initiate a complaint with the state insurance commissioner's office, the vast majority of the time, the insurance commissioner's office will send a letter to that insurance company just to say, hey, we're exploring this particular claim, and we're letting you know that we're exploring it so that when we reach out to you, we're going to expect some data disclosures on this particular claim. And this is before the insurance commissioner has actually vetted out that whether this is a self-funded or a state, self-funded plan that's governed by the state or an ERISA plan governed by the federal government. At this point, the insurance commissioner doesn't know. So they send these notices out to the insurance companies, and that's all it takes to get the insurance company to reverse the denial, because they don't want to hear from the federal government, and they most certainly don't want to hear from the state government. So in that part there, for self-funded plans, we want to treat them just like fully insured plans. You probably won't even know that it's a self-funded plan to begin with. So you just submit the complaint normally through the insurance commissioner's office, and the insurance commissioner's template letters to the insurance companies, just a warning to say, hey, we're investigating this. Sometimes that's all it takes to get those claims to get reversed.
Thank you. Yeah, that's really good to know. At what point during the appeal process do you advise doctors to initiate the review complaint process with an insurance commissioner's office?
Yeah, so this is another good question. When it comes to when, you most certainly don't want to initiate a complaint with the insurance commissioner's office after the first denial. Usually, most insurance commissioners would require you to appeal once, and after that first appeal, if a denial is still the decision, then you can take it to the insurance commissioner's office. Other insurance commissioners, and I don't have a full listing of states, this is something that we're working on to provide some education and disclosures on this, is that other states require you to appeal 3 to 4 times, to have 3 or 4 denials. And what the insurance company is looking for, what the insurance commissioner is looking for is a pattern. And if they see that it's a specific type of treatment that's being denied, they want to know, okay, how many times does it take for you to appeal before the insurance company closes the appeal process or pays the claim? So for most insurance companies, it's 4 appeals. And if the decision is still a denial, then the insurance commissioner would want to see that denial 4 times, right? So I know a lot are thinking, well, that's a lot of time investment on my part and my team members' part. But here's the risks of not doing this level of appeal is that normally you go after 4 appeals and then the claim gets denied and disallowed, meaning that as a doctor that's in network, you cannot collect from the patient. When this adds up, you're talking about tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, and for some practices, millions of dollars of lost income. When the insurance companies win these games at this level and you don't get paid what you're supposed to get paid, you will start to see these issues magnify over time, where insurance companies are constantly targeting you. And I've actually seen, Naren, a bunch of practices where over like a 3-year period, they lost $200,000 to $300,000 worth of income because their appeal processes, well, they just didn't fight them as hard as they could have. But it was all income that was legitimate that they lost as a result of not going through the process effectively, or not. I shouldn't say not going through the process. It's more of not knowing that there's another option, through the insurance commissioners and sometimes through the attorney generals in some states that do tend to take on cases like the insurance commissioner does. But the rule of thumb, my rule of thumb is after the first denial, first appeal that gets a denial, send it to the insurance commissioner, get to know them, understand their policies. You'd be surprised that sometimes after one appeal that still gets denied, a lot of insurance commissioners will take the case. So when in doubt, just give it a try after your first appeal.
Thank you. One thing that's becoming obvious is like, this is why dentists hate insurance companies, right? I mean, it's just like nobody goes to dental schools to, learn how to work with insurance companies, how to fight with insurance companies. They want to do dentistry, right? That's why dentists go into dentistry, just to take care of patients, create beautiful smiles. The amount of time and effort and the brain power and the frustration and the appeals, it's just a nightmare. I guess that's why more than ever before, a lot of practices are dropping PPO plans. And I know we help people with marketing. So of course, the only thing the insurance company does is get you new patients. So, hey, I think the best defense is the best offense. Imagine if you're getting new patients in 10 other ways, you don't need to keep putting up with crap. It's like, I have heard the story, like a lot of women who are abused sometimes stay in those relationships because in their imagination or mind, like without this quote unquote abuser, they'll be on the street. So they put up with that abuse, right? But I don't think that's the case here. I don't think you have to put up with it. You can change your game by, investing in marketing, making your practice a better practice that provides awesome service. The patients are like seeking you out, having great Google reviews. So I say, go work on the offense. Don't let these companies abuse you. So thank you for all the help. But let's say you are caught up in an abusive situation like this, and any one of the listeners is listening to this, who should they contact?
Oh yeah, Tessina, hands down, is somebody that I recommend contacting. Her company website is Verus, VERUS, verusdental.com. You can Google Verus Dental, VERUS Dental. Tessina, you'll see that her services are primarily just insurance verifications, but she does coaching as well. She's actually a very well-known coach here on the West Coast. But she handles all 50 states from the perspective of how do I successfully appeal these denied claims to the extent where they stop, right? And Tessina is the best of the best in the industry, and she knows exactly how to do this in a way that's meaningful, where you're not spending or spinning your wheels and spending so much in payroll dollars to get your claims to overturned. So visit verusdental.com, VERUS dental.com. And ask Tessina for a consult. She's quite amazing in this area.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Ben. Enjoyed this episode. If anyone is listening, love this episode, please share it with your friends on social media. Go to our website, insuranceuntangled.com. Write a review for us on Google, on Google Music or Apple. So we would love to hear your feedback. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of the day.